Welcome back, everyone, to the AfterBuzz TV's Billions podcast, where we are reviewing Season 3, Episode 2, The Wrong Maria Gonzalez. Now, stay tuned because we're going to talk about who the real Maria Gonzalez is, and Ice Juice pops back in, and the feud between Axe and Rhoades. Stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Yeah, we're back. We're back.
We're back.
Hello, hello. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. We're reviewing Season 3, Episode 2. Can you believe we're Season 3 already? I know, it's still crazy
Season
to me.
3, and it's very stressful.
Yeah.
Are you stressed when you watch this?
I do. I get stressed, but I was saying to you earlier, I'm glad that we're not binge watching it because it gives me something excited to look forward to every week.
Yes.
Which I'm sure you guys also feel the same way, being
But
fans
even
of the
to
show.
binge watch this is so hard because it's there's an old Star Trek episode, and I can say this, listen, to our younger fans, because Brian Kalpman, the creator, go deep diving on some of his stuff, you know, his interviews. I'm sorry, distracted because why would you put the song down? Come on, Anthony, keep that song playing. It was such a vital part of this episode.
Because you're so important that we just need to hear everything you're saying without distraction.
No,
Kevin.
but Kalpman, he's like, it's amazing the era he grew up in the 70s, and so many of his references just keep coming out throughout this.
Yeah, that's why I think I love watching this with you, because watching it on my own, some of the stuff just flies right over my head. But watching with you, you're trying to, you know,
my God,
you're telling me everything
well,
that's going on.
Well, there's an old Star Trek episode where these two, it's the crew of the Enterprise against the Klingons, and there's this one entity that just feeds off of war, and so no matter what happens on either, like the Enterprise would attack, the crew of the Enterprise would attack the Klingons, and they'd high five each other. Then the Klingons would attack them, and they'd high five. And this entity just kept the balance of power, so both sides were equal, and they could just keep terrorizing each other. It just got energy, and that's what I feel like with this. It's like Rhoades gets a shot in on, and then Axe gets a shot in, and it's back and forth and back and forth. And to me, it's amazing. But I don't want to binge.
I don't
want
to be. Yeah.
This is so
your heart just races way too much. We take what we can get. Yeah, once a week is good for us. Well, let's introduce you. I know you've been talking a little bit, but this is Mr. Keven Undergaro, the amazing,
non-billionaire,
incredible. You don't need that money,
No,
though.
no,
you just need that love. You got that big heart. You're Italian.
Thank you. Yes, and so do you.
Yeah, and I am Nadine, Della. Thank you guys very much for joining with us today. We are going to be chatting a lot. We're going to be talking about Axe. We're going to talk about Rhoades. But let's dive first right into the Rhoades kind of scheme of what's happening, what he's up to, what he's doing. We kind of come back and we realize that Rhoades, just like Axe, he can't sit on the sidelines.
No,
he's never going to.
Though.
I know that, but you never know what can happen. You kind of hope that he maybe, not want to be the creator of his own demise in a sense, but he will continue to be that.
It's interesting because they both were making stupid moves. They're making smart moves in terms of the short run, but in the long run, stupid moves.
They're blinded by hatred. Yeah.
Hatred and then independence and greed and both of their wills. But by the end of this, and I don't want to get into Axe's side, but you see Axe wisely takes his foot off the pedal. But Rhoades continues to go and continues to call in favors and twist arms and do all these things that there's going to be a price that I think he's going to have to pay.
Yeah.
At least when I see the balance of power now, even though Rhoades has got the upper hand in this one, it seems, I don't know, I'm more afraid for him.
What's going to happen?
Because, he keeps doubling down.
Yeah, and I wonder if Brian is actually going to be someone that maybe saves him, because Brian's the one who's realizing, hey, his fingers are in all of this right here, and he keeps bringing it up, and it keeps happening all throughout this entire episode.
Yeah, but does he save him, or even when he says, he does that whole analogy about white Valentines, right? No, excuse me, I'm sorry. It is called, it's on Valentine's Day in Japan. It's called White Day in Japan. And by the way, just shout out to the writers, because I just love
bringing that up.
Right? All this, had you ever heard of that?
Never heard of it.
So all this information that comes up, but he goes on to say what it is. It's like the women give gifts to their bosses on Valentine's Day, and then a month later, the bosses have to give something 3 times bigger. So it's interesting. in the analogy, he makes Dake out to be the woman, right?
Yeah.
And so so
The lesser, yeah.
Rhoades hooked you up, basically took out Funt, the judge, behind our backs, and you just got your diamond cufflink. So, but get ready to when you're gonna have to pay back.
Yeah.
So I don't look at it. I don't look at Brian so much as an ally. I think he'll be a foil to Rhoades. Yes, I do.
We'll
Because,
have to see. Yeah.
Well, he seems like the most fair-minded out of.
He is, yeah, he does seem a little bit more level-headed, but it's because he's not in the game. So I think we're distracted as viewers because we're so much with that ping pong back and forth between Axe and Rhoades. We see Brian come in and we're like, come on, man, stop trying to ruin this for us. But in the reality, if you're out of that out of that bubble of hatred and,
Well, he's also more human. He's
Yeah.
more human. And you know where I noticed it as well? In the scene with the naked guy. As he and Terry, the FBI agent, are on the attack, trying to figure out, the ice juice conspiracy. Notice how she just had total strength and was like, no, you're not. Okay, you think by being naked and putting your penis out in front of me is going to throw my game off. No, she stayed on it. But his game was totally tossed off.
He didn't know how to handle it. Maybe it's because she's FBI and she's seen a lot. She's out in the field. She's been through a lot of stuff. And Brian,
I also
kind of dusk a lot of the time.
True. And I also tend to think in these kind of shows, and I hate to give away secret sauce, but I think that if you see the writing that's gone on the last 5 years, even with Game of Thrones, it seems like they always want to empower the women or the weaker people. This is not the time to be an older white male.
No,
And as I say, the older white men had a 10,000 year run of victories. So
they're done.
Yeah.
We can move on.
Well, it's time. And you're seeing it. Well, look, and by the way, the show is based on two older white men and their egos and everything else. But I always think, it was funny, we got one of our comments, I had on YouTube, had said, do you think that karma is going to play into this series? And I tend to think that a lot of writers, and I can't speak for Koppelman and the other writers on the show, but I tend to think a lot of writers, they the furthest they'll go is they'll go to an ironic ending. But I always feel like there's a little karma involved
That's
in
gonna play
their
out.
and it'll be interesting to see how this plays out here. But I think you see how strong Wendy is. You see how strong Terry is. You see how strong Taylor is. And I know that's the other side of the coin.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I mean, anyway, were you surprised to see Funt taken down?
No, I wasn't surprised at all because Rhoades has a plan. Rhoades knows how to get to it. Rhoades is, waiting.
He tried to hold his ground.
Yeah, he did. He tried and he couldn't, and he knew at the end. He basically was like, "F you," but yeah, I'm fine. I'm gonna recuse myself.
And it was so interesting how he said, he kind of spelled out Rhoades, like
he put a mirror to his face.
Yeah, I don't
completely.
want. You think I want this for publicity? I don't.
Yeah.
That's what you want.
Yeah. That's the thing though. That's why all these other backhanded deals, people helping each other later on. I think that goes with the theme of kind of karma. He needed Rhoades' help, and so back then, and now it's going to bite him in the butt, and he has to recuse. It always happens.
But I think all this arm twisting is going to pay. There's a lot of bodies piling up. Okay.
Oh yeah.
On the Rhoades end. And we see it every week, and I don't want to be on the other side of that.
Well, I keep going back to worth it. He just says worth it. At the end of season 2, the last episode, he said, anything that happens, everything I do, it's all gonna be worth it. My demise, it's gonna be worth it.
He says that, okay, but let's talk about him and Wendy.
Yeah.
Okay, because that
Wendy,
was
girl.
weird.
Girl.
But it shouldn't be weird because that's his wife.
That's his wife, yeah.
Tell me what you thought when you saw that scene.
So the thing with Wendy is I respected her the first 2 seasons because she stood her ground. I don't care what's happening with your fight of what's going on.
I'm doing my job.
I'm doing my job.
I have my career, my job.
But that's before Rhoades took Axe down, basically. That's before the indictment happened. That's before all of this other legal stuff is going on where her family, her personal family, can be affected by it. And now she's still playing both sides. And I wonder if it looks to us like she's giving Axe proper advice and proper counseling.
Yeah.
But is she gonna ever switch, or is this actually her being manipulative, and is she actually gonna turn it?
I mean,
there has to be something, because now I'm just really annoyed with her. I'm annoyed. You cannot help these two men be at their best and their strength, because it's gonna lead to a bigger explosion.
Well, think about it. So on the one hand,
Yeah.
she gets out of bed in the middle of the night. Could you imagine you're next to your husband, Nadine?
Yeah.
And some, guy calls your arch
Yeah,
enemy,
not
no
just
less,
some guy. Yeah, your
at
arch
3 in the
enemy.
morning, and
Yeah.
you get up and take the call. So that's weird. But then in this,
Are you surprised we didn't see a scene of that, of Rhoades out? We heard his voice, but of him asking her later about it?
No, but he did say something, and I did not write the quote down, that had some subtext to it.
Okay.
Where I feel like it was a
He
little
knew.
jab.
Okay, yeah.
Well, you saw the look on it. He
face, yeah.
was aware, but it just seemed strange when I feel like I saw a different side of Wendy. It's like she's always coached them to be their best. Okay, like, I'm going to coach you, Axe, to be your best because that's my job, and I'm going to coach you, Rhoades, to be your best because I'm your wife. But this was the first time it seemed like, no, we're a team. Me and you, Rhoades, hubby. It felt like that conversation.
You felt that? Okay.
Yes, that they was like, and I was confused by that reaction because she's always played it down the middle. Like, as I said, I'm going to help you be your best you, and I'm going to help you be your best you. But this was more like when he said, this is coming up to our family. We just got judge fucked.
Yeah, he's like, not we the people.
Yeah,
We are family.
We are family.
Yeah.
And then she kind of went into gangster mode,
Yeah.
like, I got to protect the family. And I, to my knowledge, I don't remember seeing that. And that, it seemed weird to me. And I mean,
But she's still giving Axe all this amazing and great
but
advice.
but yes.
Yeah.
But I feel like she's doing her job.
Yeah.
Which we've seen before. Axe, here's how you be the best you, Axe. This was more not just how the best you. This is how we beat this guy. That it just seemed like that to me.
It's crazy. How can she still?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. But it's
Yeah.
It will be interesting writing wise. I just felt like it was a step away in a direction I personally. And again, you guys as our fans, please hit us up on YouTube with your comments. You can hit us up on iTunes. Please, if you do go to iTunes, rate and comment. Give us a 5-star rating.
Yeah, please. Thank you.
But you let us know, because it seemed to me like she was taking this is one step beyond what I've seen her be in the past with her husband.
Yeah, it was a little vicious. She
Well,
was, but it worked though.
But there was a great quote there. She said, he spared himself the question by putting the tougher one to you. So she was referring back to when he first met with the other judge. What's the name? We looked it up earlier. Remember, we looked it up.
Judge Leonard Fun?
DiGiulio.
Oh, DiGiulio. Yeah.
So he met with DiGiulio and basically said, hey, do me a solid because I did you a solid. And he said, basically, if you ever mention that favor, I'm not doing you a favor back. And if you mention that again, I'm going to basically, we'll never speak again.
Yeah.
And we see that in the preview. But what's interesting is Wendy says, no, he's just trying to impose his will on you. Now you go and impose your will back. It's about you imposing your will back on him. And he just avoided your question with another question, basically.
Yeah.
So basically double down. Rhoades
Be aggressive,
does. He does, but it's interesting. He doesn't go in and threaten. He says, I'll do you an even bigger favor. So instead, he reverse engineers it. I'll do you a bigger favor, and he gets his way.
So it's going back to this kind of trade. Okay, let's just keep doing favors for each other, and at the end, it's going to be extreme.
And in comes this new guy who's part of the favor, Allard. And the actor was on Mad Men, and I actually think it's this old comedian named, he's not old, but named Alan Havey, I think. So shout out to back in the day, Comedy Channel, before it was Comedy Central. Comedy Channel, he had his own show. I remember watching.
Alan Havey.
Alan Havey.
Yeah, there you go.
He's a great actor. He was great on Mad Men. And he comes in, he's like, this is the favor. And so I think he is going to be a problem. Because I bet you anything, if I were to predict, he's a guy that's probably had a lot of problems and is probably a little bit of a nightmare.
But maybe that's what they want us to think.
But I think the judge owes this guy a favor, so he pays this bum back by throwing him in there and making a mess, unless he's in there to be a spy.
Yeah. that is another thing
for
that
the
could
judge
happen.
too, because
There's
the judge doesn't
something
trust
that's going to
him.
happen, but I think that Rhoades has his alert on and he has his guard up a lot with the guy, so I think he's going to be extra cautious about it. And I think possibly, I mean, this is for predictions, but I think that guy could maybe actually help him lead to victory because it's always the unexpected.
Oh, you think Allard's going to help Rhoades?
Yeah, I think there's a possibility for it.
No, I disagree.
No?
But we'll see. I think because he keeps selling his soul, that he sold a piece of his soul, and now this is going to be the thing because you got to pay back that favor. I think this is going to haunt him.
All
Do you know what
right.
was interesting too is when he was talking to DiGiulio, where he told the story about the father.
Yeah.
And someone called the father, Charles Sr. called him Chucky or Charlie.
Yeah.
And he said, the story ended with, "Do I look like a fucking Charlie to you?" I feel like that was subtext of him saying, if you think I'm a Charlie,
Yeah, or
I'm a
pushover or
Charlie,
anything.
right? I'm not either. I'm my father's son.
Yeah.
Did you feel like that?
Yeah, and that's how they went into the meeting. That's how the
So-
meeting started. So he wasn't aggressive then, but in the beginning he was. I think it set the tone for the rest of the meeting. And the whole reason why they want this new judge is because they want someone who's anti-billionaire. They want someone who thinks that billionaires have had a lot of stuff handed to them.
And to be fair, they're claiming that DiGiulio will call it
yeah, as
down
it
the
is.
middle, whereas Judge Funt
Was.
is libertarian.
Yeah.
And if you know the libertarians, they're a little bit, they're loose.
Yeah,
you
a
know,
little
they're-
softer.
And a little bit radical. But he got him right off the case. So this guy they're saying is just going to call a fair case, which is interesting. It's starting this way.
And they also have to say that. He had to make that very clear in case
Right.
anything ever happened
100%.
under oath. That's why he was very clear about this, that I'm going to be fair. This has nothing to do with anything. That I do want the case, wink, wink, because you want me to have it.
What about Maria Gonzalez?
So Maria Gonzalez. Well, first of all, can we just chat about another Maria really quickly before we dive?
yes.
Before we just dive into Gonzalez,
Listen,
we can
as
talk
we
about,
say in the hosting business, excellent segue.
yeah, we can talk about Miss Maria Menounos and her wonderful, wonderful Conversations with Maria Menounos podcast edition. I know you've listened, I listen, we all listen, and you guys should definitely please check it out and listen. It's hosted by our AFTERBUZZ TV founder, which drops every Friday on iTunes. I'm going to tell you a little bit about it. Conversations with Maria Menounos. It features celebrity and influencer interviews, which are really good interviews and really fun and engaging. By the way, side note there, along with secret tips on how to be better in all aspects of life. So from health and wellness to career and relationships, finances, more. Let Maria be the big sister you've always wanted, the big sister and leader that we have here at AFTERBUZZ. So you just have to go to iTunes and subscribe to Conversations with Maria Menounos for free. Be sure to rate it and comment it like we ask you to do with our AFTERBUZZ stuff, because she's family, of course, and give a 5-star while you're there. So it's Conversations with Maria Menounos, the podcast edition, and go and check that out.
And can I say, please,
Yes.
when you do rate and comment, tell her that Nadine
Yes.
and Keven from Billions, AfterBuzz Billions,
From
sent you there
Billions.
because we look for the gold star.
Yeah.
Much like a lot of the guys that were meeting with Taylor. We're looking for their gold
Always,
star.
yeah. They want the pat on the back.
So Maria is our axe.
Yes, she is.
Although she's an ethical axe, but you know
She
what?
is.
And if you do listen to that show, there's so much amazing information.
She's nice
on
and
that.
more fun than Axe.
No,
so.
you know what's so funny? Even though it's obviously that's my wife, I listen all the time as a fan, and because I'll tell her different things going on in the show.
Yeah.
But it's not with criticism, not an audit, because I really do learn because she has all these
Let's admit, yeah.
people that are smarter than me, so that I like to learn from.
Yeah. That's why you marry someone who's amazing
Always,
for you. Yeah.
always, if you marry people, marry equal or marry up.
equal
Don't
or up.
marry down.
Yeah.
Anyway, Maria Gonzalez.
Yeah, so there you go. Back to Maria Gonzalez.
Poor Maria Gonzalez.
I was about to be in
right?
tears and I was about to cry
my
at the end of that. But it's the reality. One, she didn't have a choice to get
No.
involved in this whole scandal
Nope.
because
Nope.
she'd lose her job and then she could
Right.
have been reported and get deported anyway. She goes along with it. She doesn't get compensated anything really.
No.
They say they're going to help her get her green card. They're not really in the process of doing that probably. And at the end, she still gets deported. The poor lady,
Well,
the poor
and-
woman.
Yeah, she was a patsy.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so sad, just collateral damage, and just sad because, unfortunately, growing up with working class parents myself, it just breaks my heart because I just always remember my parents and my parents' friends being so victimized by the system and by people with money, and being so powerless. And
there's nothing you can. Yeah, there's nothing you
and
can
by the
do.
way, just what this country needs, let's get rid of somebody who works hard and who's willing to do dirty
doing
work.
nothing wrong.
Nothing wrong.
Trying
Positive
her best.
attitude.
Yeah. That's why it annoyed me so much. I mean, I understand where the attorney general is getting when he comes off and says that she's a 3-time illegal because she came here illegally. She did something
Well,
illegal.
let's start. So attorney general is like, it's interesting. So Dake calls him for help.
Yeah.
Brian goes, call for help. Did it surprise you that he didn't help? Yeah. And by the way, why wouldn't he help? Is he that right wing Trump Republican?
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
That it's more important to get rid of an immigrant
exactly
than it is to nail this American billionaire.
I agree fully on that. And I think if we're relating this in the show a lot, and we've heard from the actors and from the writers that a lot of it has to do with modern politics, then yes, that's exactly what's happening. Any win in the terms of deportation, getting an illegal alien out is a win. But at the same token, what Brian had said too is like, this is kind of his number one case. Like, why wouldn't he? And that trumps it. Literally.
Is it his number one case, or did he say it's important to him?
I think it's his face case. I think, like we've talked about, he can be looser on other stuff, but this is his main.
But here's what's consistent.
Yeah.
All of these alpha male pigheads put their ego and their personal,
vendettas and stuff. Yeah.
ahead of the big picture.
Yeah.
And we saw that, but it's so interesting. I know we'll get to Axe in a second. So interesting that's how Axe was operating the whole episode. But at the end, he's able to check his ego. Probably, maybe it's the help of Wendy, certainly the help of Taylor. But that is very interesting, and I think that is a victory for him in the big picture.
Oh, well,
where it seems like everyone else, well, all the other big alphas in this continue to just be pigheads,
ruthless, and not listen.
Well, but ruthless is fine, but ruthless in the short-sighted nature. It's like they're ruled by their dick, so to speak. Like, this is what I want, and no, immigrants need to go, get them out.
Not looking
like,
long-term.
dude, you're not thinking the big picture.
How this is going to actually hurt you. But
and,
I think,
and Rhoades just keeps. Rhoades just, whether it's like selling out his dad and selling, it's
another level. It's another level. Betrayal is just something that will happen that they don't care about. But I think a big part of why at the end we see Axe coming around, a big part I think was the conversation he had with Lara. I really do. I think it just put into perspective, even though she was
Laura's so great, right?
Oh my goodness.
So tell me why Laura was the one, because you see Wendy trying. Well, because Lara is his, like I've always said, like, I don't know if I like them together, but I think today it really showed me more and more how they're perfect for each other. Well, she's like, I think her seeing the boys get dropped off in that helicopter. And her, can you cover her conversation with the other female?
Oh my gosh, that was one I wrote on my notes too, that was one of my favorite scenes. Basically, this woman was trying to connect with her, as we all saw. She's trying to connect with her on the level of, hey, our husbands suck, and I'm going to use you as my example, and my leader.
That whole thing.
Yeah, I'm going to use you as my leader so I can leave my husband. And she looked at her and she's like, no. Don't be blindfolded. Your insecurities of what you actually want in reality isn't a good husband. It's all this other, the social life, the money, all of that.
Be prepared to give it all up.
Give it all up, because as soon as you divorce him and this is gone and everything goes quiet,
you turn into a pumpkin.
You're going to hire PR.
And it's so funny. We have I know so many women in Hollywood who are married to famous men who just cheat and are disgusting scoundrels to them, but they stay because they don't want to give up being Mrs. Blank.
Well, that's why marriage is so much more than just love. It comes with so many other things. Love should be, in most cases, the number one aspect. Right. But a lot of the times, this world, it's not. It's just, honestly, it's merging of, two people's finances.
And great quote. She said, you're trying to figure out if you hate me. Right? If you hate me or you're grateful, just be grateful.
Just be grateful.
And also I thought was interesting is when she confronted Axe about the kids being dropped off, she said, they weren't even embarrassed. They didn't even know enough to be embarrassed. And that's a whole other problem. And was it great when Wags referred to him as, which one's George, which one's Edward? You know what that is?
No, I don't.
That's the kings of the future kings of England.
Oh.
Back in the day. So remember the King's Speech?
Yeah.
Was I think it was Edward.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. I'm going to get crucified by fans for this. I'm sorry.
Well, let us know. Let us know, guys.
but anyway, that's what he was referring to. And then one of those kings becomes a turncoat to the country. So it's just
that's why he was asking that question. Yeah,
like, who's the one? Predict. Just kind of interesting, but
and those kids are always on their iPhones or on their playing video games. I can't even imagine.
I just thought
billionaires.
I'm just like, as they were dropped off, I'm like, okay, future little monsters.
Yeah. Yeah, literally.
You know?
But the thing is I think
But
Lara
what does
has
Lara
always,
says? Yeah, so go back to what she says to him.
yeah, she basically says to him, like, hey, like, you didn't even want to spend time with the kids. If you want a 50-50, I'll just put that front up. And if you don't want anything to do with them, you don't have to. And I'll tell everyone this is what's happening.
Right.
Not to lose face. It's nothing to do with me being better than you. And I think
It's-
that brought him back to reality
And
of,
you
hey.
literally have no job right now.
Yeah.
And you can't even one day.
Yeah, that brought him back to the reality of what the hell am I doing? Putzing around the office.
Right.
And just making a ruckus, which I can't even be there, not spending time with my own sons and teaching them the right way of things. So, but let's talk quickly about also him, that scene of him walking through the office, Wags trying to stop him from going into Axe Capital.
And they, again, making stupid moves.
Yeah,
and I'm like, don't do
dumb.
it. Don't do it.
But luckily, they had their butts covered. Wags was there talking, and then they had the video camera on him the whole time. The whole time. Because you know there's people outside Axe Capital waiting for him to go in, waiting for him to do something wrong to, you know, to get his license revoked for life.
Of course.
So they were very smart. They documented the whole thing. But there came so much comedy in that. I loved it. One, everyone was literally like peeing their pants out of fear. They didn't know what to do. They didn't know how to act.
Right.
But also the comedy with the selfie stick that was being had and all these.
I told you
behind
the Zabruta comment, the guy who shot the Kennedy film.
The Kennedy film.
And we listen, you know, because we're racing through acts, but we have to shout out to his moment with Mark Cuban and his moment with Mike Panay.
Oh,
When
yeah.
you're looking at the cars. So with Cuban's like, hey, I got too much stuff going on. I got too much heat on me. I'm not going there. You're toxic.
Cuban's a good little actor, by the way.
He's okay. He's all right.
He did pretty
and he
good.
loves it. He loves it. And then
Yeah.
Mike Panay, I thought, did a great job too. And he, on the other hand, says, yeah, let's work together. But then Axe is like, no.
Yeah.
And that's his way of going like, no, I'm still Axe.
Yeah.
I think it's like, I'm not going to look desperate. But you see it's a moment of just boredom, right?
Yeah.
Like, look at all these
He's
cars.
literally just walking around
Yeah.
the car shop with other
Yeah.
billionaires. He's like, is this what you do when you're not running companies and
And
stuff?
that is what you do.
Yeah, that is what
know?
you do. But yeah, I love these cameos that we are getting from the real world coming in. It makes the connections to the world, and it makes me feel like I'm more invested in Billions because I can actually tangibly touch it when I'm done watching the show.
So because
Yeah.
it starts to bleed reality.
Yeah.
We should also mention the two security guards. They're going to play a hand, and Wags
Ooh,
challenges
yeah.
them. We find out they're super geniuses.
Yeah.
And they're the ones ultimately who were able to get rid of Maria
Yeah.
Gonzalez. They pulled a switcheroo like it's nothing. So it's
Smart,
amazing
smart
he armed
kids,
up with them.
But you see the loyalty that Wags has for Axe though there?
Yeah.
He literally will do anything. He's like, no, I'm not going to trust you. You have to prove to me. Like, I
Right.
know Axe has already vetted you, but I'm going to do
I
my
need
own
to.
vetting because that's how much I care about you. That's the guy you need. That's the guy. That's the Robin you need to your Batman.
I think,
for sure.
And I think we really have to go over Taylor because this
Yes.
to me she was the star of this episode. She her leadership was tested. Interesting. They talk about she's doing this focus exercise and there's a little reference to Salem witches, right? But
Yeah, because she's staring. She's staring at this.
but
thing.
you know
Yeah,
the
it's gonna
symbolism.
burn.
She says, "I've cultivated a mystique, and I know how people look at me, and I feel like that there was more layers to that statement, meaning
Oh yeah.
how they look at me because I'm so young to be in this power, but then also." I think there's moments, even when she sees Ben Kim, the Asian worker there, I think she sees a connection of, you know, I get being different.
Yeah.
And I get being looked at and misjudged or underrated or
Yeah.
underappreciated. It's interesting. She reaches out to him. She sees he's afraid to respond, Ben Kim. But
Poor Ben Kim.
Yeah, but her instinct.
Yeah.
I was wondering where the writers were going to take this. You know, was when he gets into his social, he's more socially conscious, more socially aware. You know, he says, should we be concerned about the people in this earthquake? And they're all like, go do a walkathon.
Whatever.
Actually, do a tough Mudder.
Tough Mudder. That's
Yeah.
the modern day. That's the
Yeah.
2018 version.
But then, but see, I thought, okay, is this the time to see Taylor show that she's masculine and ruthless?
Yeah.
And say, get me all of Ben Kim's information. And then I thought maybe we would see that he's into this socially aware stuff and she's going to go crush that and be ruthless.
She's gonna
be a leader.
take it, yeah.
But what's interesting is she sees something special in him. She has that ability. No one else does. All these other like fools are, again, like not the time to be an older white male, but they don't see it.
Yeah.
She sees
She- 'cause
this
he has the
minority
weakness there, yeah.
and his weakness is actually strength.
It is.
She sees that
Yeah.
just like everyone sees her weakness as strength. She sees that. And then she pulls his records and says, no, this is amazing. Let's go with it. And so it's showing me that she is going to take Axe Capital in a different direction. She's going to struggle. She's going to bump her head. But what's going to happen is, if I were to predict, is I think she is going, and I think this is one of the things millennials, one of the positive things about millennials is that you guys bring a different social awareness and consciousness that our generation doesn't have. Like our generation, I do feel like it's that in that world, it's that Trump kill or be killed, get revenge, hunt everyone down. I've heard from guys on Wall Street, business is a full contact sport, and they're just absolutely ruthless, and it makes me ill. And this is why I like to work more with millennials, because my mindset is more like a millennial mindset. But I feel she is hope for us. Taylor's hope for us to say, you know what, we can make money, but we don't have to be ruthless and kill people.
Yeah, we don't have to do it the way we were kind of doing it.
So I'm hoping, and I hope that's a little bit of a sign. And
that'd be a beautiful thing for Axe Capital to go through if that's the case.
You know what? And maybe with or without
Maybe
Axe.
they'll need that,
But it may be with or without him. But they have their nice. And by the way, Washington crossing the Delaware was. I'm a history major, so I love
hilarious.
I love the use of that.
Yeah.
And I love how it's like, hey, he wasn't standing up in the boat; he would have been shot.
He would have been shot.
And Wendy says to him, you know
Yeah.
what? You need to help everyone cross the Delaware, but you're not standing up showing off to everybody by doing it.
Yeah.
So drop your head down. And with all this, he goes back in and he says, the $2 billion I'll leave with you. And, instead of anyone else would have lost 12%.
Thank God he said that, though.
For his own sake.
For him, yeah.
And, we've only, instead of losing 12%, we lost 5%. Because again, not being greedy and also not panicking. She could have been greedy or she could have panicked. Taylor did neither.
Yeah.
So,
well, thank God she went and talked with Wendy. I think Wendy got her head straight with all that.
Yeah. And you know what? She said, don't hesitate, right? And whatever. And even if you make a mistake, the mistake will burn you bad enough where you'll never make it again.
Yeah.
So, but it's a great moment where he at least for now,
breaks on it.
He gives her the reins.
Yeah.
And then they have a great exchange in where she's like,
yeah,
I'm not doing this for you. He's like, I know you're not doing it for me. You're
figured
doing
it out.
doing it for the company. And I felt like it's almost like, I respect what you did, Axe Sainer, but I also have my eye on you too.
Yeah.
And she almost says that back to him.
Yeah.
Like, don't think I'm going to take your $2 billion and do what you want. I don't know, right?
Yeah,
Did
there's
you feel
something.
like-
Well, he ended the whole conversation saying, "I'm your hedge," and walked away. And it's kind of the truth of it. She's watching him. She needs to, give him a little bit of leeway so that he doesn't bug her.
I'm a huge fan of her.
Yeah.
This is one of my favorite characters on the show. if not
Taylor?
my favorite. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would bet on her, but again, we'll see how it all plays out. Can we go to news quickly before we get kicked out of here?
Yeah. We can do news, and I also have a fun little segment I want to introduce.
I do the news first. Then.
Woo! Okay, so we have some news. We chatted a little bit about it last week. There's a great interview with Damian Lewis and Paul Giamatti.
Okay.
And another really fun, I think, interesting quote that one of them had said in there was, and this actually goes really well with what happened today with Lara and then that woman that talked with her about whether or not she should divorce her husband and leave him and stuff. And Damian Lewis, he keeps saying, he's like, I find it so interesting how these women, they come up to me. And I get a lot of really high-end, well-heeled women going, "You're playing my husband. You know that? You're playing my husband. It's identical to him."
Oh, my God.
He tells everybody. And I said, "Are you watching the show? Do you know what Bobby does?"
I'm sorry. It's almost like when I watch Versace, just a shout out to our Versace after show that they did here, American Crime Story. It was so hard to watch because I knew the Andrew Cunanan or whatever is Cunanan.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of those guys walking around. And with Bobby, 100%.
100%. But these women think that it's amazing that they're married to a guy like Bobby. And it's like...
That's what they're in love with.
Or that they like the other parts of it. And that's why I thought correlated. And that's why I want to bring that up.
But it's funny. I was talking to my wife today about billionaires. And she said most of the ones I know are not happy.
Yeah.
It's just more.
So much stress is put on you. Yeah.
And I find it frightening, and I don't like being around them. I had one in here. I shouldn't give away too much, but just doing some side business, it's like they're 80 moves ahead on the chessboard. It's stressful to be, because I just.
Well, yeah, success doesn't come easy. You have to work your butt off, even when you have it.
But when you're so, and what is success? And you're so focused, though.
Yeah.
You'll do anything for that extra dollar.
Yeah.
And that's what, to me, is frightening. Yes, there's the billionaires I find that have done inventions or startups or millennial billionaires, I find have a more heart. But the older billionaire that's made it through cutting throats all the way, just scary spice.
So you don't know what they're capable of. They didn't get to this
No,
on an easy
it just
path.
frightens
Yeah.
me. So it's unbelievable.
There's
These
a lot
women,
of stuff.
good for them.
Yeah, and
Anything
then
else?
and then we're gonna start this new segment. It's basically quotes from billions. So we're gonna talk about. I'm gonna give one quote a week.
There's so many.
There's so many, but
Okay,
I think
what's
some
this
great
one?
inspirational quotes that we can take with us. This one is from season 1, episode 1. Actually, Axe says to Rhoades, "What's the point of having FU money if you never say FU?" So I just thought that was an interesting kind of, if you want to live your mantra by the day by that or not. But what are your thoughts about that? A couple sentences.
Well, it's a great quote and it's fun, but I'm a believer, in the power of words.
Yeah.
And it's scientifically proven. Certain things you put out there in the universe will come back and get you. So if you say I can't do this, or I never can, or this never happens for me, or what's the purpose of having FU money if you can't use it to say FU?
Yeah.
I just feel like then you're going to go out and say FU.
Yeah.
And maybe you
may
don't
bite
need
you.
to. Well, maybe you don't need, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think if you say that it's unnecessary, then you're going to go.
You're going to go do
It's
it?
going to be closer to happening.
Yeah, I think, but it also may have to deal with the fact of just standing up for yourself more so. Like if you just kind of have to have the kahunas to just stand up for yourself and just say.
On face value, yes, because I'm a big believer in becoming an entrepreneur so you can have the independence. So maybe not necessarily say F you, but to say
later.
But to say I'm going to walk away. I'm not. I believe in win together or part friends. Yeah. So I try not to say F you. Maybe it's just like, hey, you know what? We shouldn't work together. Yeah. But I'm sorry to be all like weak about that. But yeah, and I also think there's a shout out to just being an entrepreneur. And someone once, when they were talking about Steve Jobs and how he fought his cancer, he fought it in such an unorthodox way, which some people believe he'd still be alive had he not fought it that way. Yeah. But one of the people his friends had mentioned the fact that entrepreneurs, they like to sail their own ship. They want to be the master and commander of their destiny. So the one thing that would kill them emotionally as well as physically would be something like cancer, because they can't control it. And Jobs tried to control it, and it cost him his life. And as I was watching Axe throughout this episode, I kept thinking of that. Most of these entrepreneurs do not like to be boxed in. Yeah. They want to control their destiny. And the fact that now he's had to give up control. And when I saw him walk into the building, I said, oh, that's perfect, because that's exactly what a billionaire would do. But there may be hope for Axe. The fact that he arced and he pulled back, he took his foot off the pedal. Yeah. There may be hope.
There may be something.
Maybe not a redemption in terms of ethics, but he may come out of this better than I thought.
Well, let's get into predictions. Why don't we do that? Please. Yeah, while we're predicting stuff. We're going to do some predictions about that. Okay, so you think this is... Ooh. Who said that? Predictions. Okay, so you think this is going to benefit, maybe help Axe, everything that he went through today,
as of now, but you never know if the writers don't make him snap the next episode. But next week we're going to see... we're going to see Rose's best friend bribed. Yeah, $30
Ida.
or $40 million.
Do you think it's going to work or no?
I don't know. No? He's pretty mad at his friend. He's down on his luck. He does seem like an ethical guy, but I don't know. I don't know.
I'm going to predict that he doesn't flip. I think at the end of the day, he's actually going to be one of the good guys. We have a lot of bad guys on this show, and I think he's going to be one of the good ones that comes out of it.
There's an interesting moment, too, where an innocent man's going to have to be put on trial. And we see Rhoades is having a problem with that. And I think that's good because it keeps his character gray. Yeah. It may... Let's see if it starts to bother him when more innocent blood gets spilled. And let's see if they don't keep Rhoades gray and not totally demented. Yeah. Saying, I don't care what happens. I'm gonna be so ruthless. I'm gonna do, as he said, the first episode of the season, whatever it takes. Yeah. And it will see if this crisis of conscience doesn't get to him. And what do you think? Do you think it will? Do you think he'll take his foot off the pedal?
I don't think so. I don't think anything will. And I think that was a big reason why they named this episode what they did with the real Maria Gonzalez, because it is such a critical point. Now, someone literally their entire life has been changed because of this war between the two of you. Just done.
Well, even
just like that.
Well, also the Ice Juice guy lost his dream, his $1 billion company. I mean, we've seen so much bloodshed, but it's maybe a little easier to see it when it's these multimillionaires. But to see a cleaning lady
that has to go back,
it's awful.
Yeah, well, hopefully not. I mean, I think the prediction is for me that it's going to keep going back and forth, tit for tat. There's going to be no ending until the finale of the last season of this show.
And and again, we'll talk back and forth. It seems like I think Taylor ends up being the winner.
Being the winner?
Of everybody. I think so.
We'll see.
That's what I'm thinking.
That's a big prediction.
I think so. I think she's the winner of everything because it's hard when you're a writer to not do something because you don't leave hope. Yeah. Like I've always said with Game of Thrones, if you watch that show.
Yeah, I do.
I always bet on the weaker. Notice it's a eunuch. It's a little person. It's women. They're the ones with, it seems like with the power, you know, they're violated, they're terrorized, but they're the ones who
they come out at the end.
Keep coming. And I don't know if that's the overall message. I think a lot of writers, listen, there's writers who look at life very bleakly, and there's ones, I think more writers have hope. Yeah. And so, I think Koppelman, as I become a bigger fan of his, and a shout out to his podcast, if you just, not that we're being paid. Yeah. But he does a wonderful podcast called Turning Point, and he interviews people of all walks of life, mostly celebrities or influencers, but that one turning point that made or broke them. It's very interesting.
I love that.
He's a fascinating guy. And I don't want to discredit the other writers on the show, but he was on Sirius this week. He was on Sam Roberts and Jim Norton and Sam Roberts show. And if you're a Sirius fan, find it on demand. They did a great interview with him. And
amazing. Well, we love what he does for us here at Billions.
It's just amazing.
Just amazing. Well, Keven, this is wrapping it up for us. Where can everybody find you?
You can find me at Undergaro, and you can hate me on our YouTube page if you want for all the dumb things I say at my age. But also The Tomorrow Show, thetomorrowshow.com. At The Tomorrow Show, that's my weekly podcast.
Amazing. Please, everyone, go check that out. Tomorrow Show is so much fun. And you guys can follow the fun with me all week, chatting about Billions and anything else you guys want to talk about at Nadine, DP, and the number 3. Thank you guys for hanging with us.
At Nadine,
DP, and the number 3. Yeah.
Okay. At Nadine, DP3.
DP3.
Why did we do that?
Why did we do that?
Yeah.
Because Della Pelle is just a really long name. It's too much.
We got to talk off
air. We'll chat.
Because there's something about, whenever you ever heard of a Della Pelle?
There is one Della Pelle.
There really is?
No,
that's what I'm saying. Just you, right?
Just me. We'll find me. You'll find it easy. We may switch the name around later on.
I think we got it. Nadine Della Pelle. Nadine Della Pelle. Nadine Della Pelle.
Well, there I am. Find me. Google me. Twitter me. Stalk me. We'll see you later, guys.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Keven Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.